Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Western Alliance Era 2 Premium Heavy Tank, the XM1 GM. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the XM1, it's a pretty damn solid flanking MBT. And that is because if you look at it and go, it's a heavy tank, well, it's not really, to be honest, but obviously Era 2, Era 3 is very blurred lines on what the classes are. It's very much like the Chieftain 120 in the way that it plays very much like a medium tank. Play it as that support tank, get flanking, get into the positions to use the shots, and use what is fantastic Hesh rounds on this tank as well. Just like the M60s, 250 pen I think it is on the Hesh rounds, is utterly beautiful, and you just shred people with the DPM on this tank. The gun's really nice, the DPM's pretty damn good, the mobility's sluggish. It is sluggish to get to its top speed, and you don't always hit your top speed. The armour on it is not great, but usable. And in that, I mean that sometimes it'll absorb ATGMs, and sometimes ATGMs just go straight through it, no problem whatsoever. And it's also the same for shots, too. You might ricochet shots off the upper plate and off the turret front, but most of the time, the shots do go through you, which is why I say it's like the Chieftain 120 in the way that don't believe the class, play it like a support tank, because if you're at the front of the attack and the one going to be taking the hits, it's not going to end well for you. But yeah, the XM1 so far, I think it's a pretty balanced tank. It's pretty good at what it does. To be honest, it's just a better version of the M60s in terms of how it plays. It's just a better version of the M60s, or the tech tree ones anyway. So without further ado, let's get into the statistics of the vehicle. So it's got a 72.5 km/h top speed, with a 38.5 km/h reverse speed, 1500 horsepower, which gives you 28.26 horsepower per ton ratio. Now this tank has a fantastic horsepower per ton ratio, but most of the time, if you're on flat, you will be going at about 60 kilometers an hour, not 72.5. Even though that horsepower per ton ratio is really good, for some reason it just feels really sluggish to get up to that top speed unless you go downhill. If you start to go on a slight incline, you will feel it accelerate up to that 72.5, and that is really nice. But you do feel that little bit sluggish in regards to getting there. 38.5 kilometers an hour reverse speed, it's fantastic by the way. It zooms backwards, which is great. You got 3,000 hit points, which is a decent slab of hit points for an Era 2 Heavy to use as, well, use for trading. You got 38 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is pretty decent. 1.9 on soft, 1.2 on medium, and 1.1 on firm, which is pretty decent ground resistances. They don't really hold it back that much. Even if you make these better, you still don't really hit the top speed. You've got, well, you don't care about the camo. You've got 470 meters of view range, which is okay. There's a lot more that are starting to push towards 500 in Era 2, but still, you'll see most tanks, and you've got true vision as well. You'll still spot most tanks at a decent distance, and then if you don't, then you can use true vision. You've got 40 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which means you are faster than the tracks in that regard. So your turret does just about outstrip your tracks in terms of its traverse, which is decent. You got 1.4 accuracy during rotation, which isn't that nice. You really want to help that if you can. You've mixed that with 2.54 accuracy during movement. Again, combined as a 2. 2.54 accuracy during movement isn't that bad. And then you can get that down really even better than that with gun skills and gun stabilizer. But pair it with the 1.4 accuracy during rotation, and that can be a little bit of a pain. So you really want to focus on making the gun as good as possible on this tank. You've got 10 degrees of gun depression, which is absolutely fantastic. Means you are fantastic on a ridgeline. You're really flexible, and that adds to the flexibility of the tank and its flanking ability and getting to those really good spots to use the fantastic gun. You've got 0.35 accuracy, which is getting onto the derpier side of accuracy, but generally you don't feel it that much. The gun is actually really good on this vehicle. You've got 1.9 second aim time as well, which is absolutely fantastic, and that'll get even lower with the crew skills and stuff, which means the gun aims in exceptionally fast, and you can get this gun singing very, very quickly. You've got APFS DS as standard, Heat and HE, with 3,600 base DPM with that 8-second reload. 421 penetration on the standard APFS DS, 430 on the Heat, but you're never really ever going to use the Heat rounds, and 250 penetration on the HE rounds. The HE rounds at 250 pen are delightful. They are absolutely fantastic. They make your DPM even better because you have 480 damage on your standard APFS DS, and on the HE, you have 590 damage, so the rolls are going to be near 600 quite often when you penetrate these Hesh rounds, which are glorious for using against the rears and the fronts of a lot of tanks, as long as they've not got any spaced armour or ERA placed on them. Great for dealing with light tanks, and great for dealing a lot of the tanks like the Chieftain 120, the MX-30s, etc., and the M60s even as well, where, you know, they don't have any spaced armour to deal with, and it just goes straight through, and your DPM goes phenomenally high by slapping out these HE rounds. You got 1508 meters a second shell velocity on the APFSDS, which is nice, but 736 meters a second shell velocity on the HE. So bear in mind that if you load the HE, they're going to loop, and they are not going to be as good at distance. So you really have to give a very good lead to make sure these HE rounds are going to hit. And then in terms of your bonuses, you have 150% silver bonus, 110 tank XP bonus, and 125% commander XP bonus, which is pretty nice on the commander XP bonus, but a little low on the silver bonus. But it's still pretty decent. It'll make you some good money. So let's have a quick look at the module viewer. So there's the ammo racks on the XM1 GM. If you want to ammo rack it, back of the turret will damage the ammo rack. Just in the center where the turret is, and behind that left-hand drive wheel as you're looking at it frontally on, and that will, you know, damage the ammo rack and stuff like that. I've not really been ammo racked too much in this though, so it's quite nice really for the GM, or the XM1. And there's the engine block for the tank. Naturally, it's all at the back of the tank and a little bit in the left-hand side of the lower plate / upper plate, which means that you've got to be careful that when you do get shot in the back end or just on that left-hand side of the front, they can damage your engine, which can be a little bit awkward. And that is where the crew sits in the XM1. And then let's have a quick look at the armour. As you can see with the armour, it's got a little bit of good plating there at 280 behind the drive wheel, but the upper plate is 140, and is there anything behind that 140? Yes, there is. It's 38mm of spaced armour behind it, which can be quite nice. Like I say, that's where that isn't that thick in reality, right? Having 38mm of spaced armour behind the upper plate and the turret front as well, by the way, and then having an extra 140 on that upper plate. Right, that's not realistically that thick, but it means that when you have ATGMs slung at you and people fire Hesh at you, or HE, or heat, there's quite often those heat rounds will just get absorbed in this upper plate, lower plate, okay? So if you're shooting at this thing and you're firing heat or you're firing HE, know that you probably won't pen it from the front. ATGMs might still pen depending on their penetration values, but it means that this thing isn't a guaranteed reliable pen with an ATGM either, which can be nice, but most of the time you still will eat an ATGM, if I'm 100% honest with you though. And the turret front is 215 with that 38 behind it. So again, the turret front does bounce shots, and especially when you're using your full gun depression with the angles accentuated in that way, but it still can get penned in the front of the turret if you are facing some of the higher pen rounds in this era. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the XM1 GM? Well, in terms of crew skills, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, and Trap Mechanic. Trap Mechanic, because I do tend to get stuck in a little bit here and there, and especially when it's getting towards the end times. So I want to be able to make sure that my tracks get back on quicker, especially if I've already used my repair kit. Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better, Clutch Braking to make the track traverse better, just so the tank feels more nimble in a way. All 3 gun perks to make sure that this gun can sing and you can use that great DPM to effect. And these 3 perks you're going to take on every single tank in Cold War in general. Well, these 4 actually you're going to take in every single tank in Cold War in general. And then in terms of equipment, I run the food, naturally, because it makes everything about the tank better. The advanced loader to make the DPM better. The gun stabilizer to make that gun, again, absolutely fantastic. You really want to make sure that this gun will hit its target. And then the ammo swapper to switch between the brilliant AP rounds and, well, you can switch to the brilliant HE rounds, to be fair. And that is why I run the ammo swapper, because I do use the HE a lot, right? And that maximizes my DPM, makes it feel absolutely filthy, and that is why I do it. If you don't use the HE, though, because you might think, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be able to maximize the HE. I don't feel like I can use it that effectively. I want to make something else about the tank better. You could run vents, obviously, to make everything about the tank better, make the DPM better, all that good stuff. You could run spore liner if you feel like you're going to go ramming in this tank, which you will, and then you're going to see a filthy ram in this in this video as well, which is lovely. Or because it is sluggish and it does struggle a little bit to its top speed, you could run Advanced Powertrain. Give it that little extra oomph in its engine, and that way you might actually hit somewhere near the 72 km/h top speed without having to go down a hill. It's down to you and how you feel comfortable playing the tank in reality, but that's just how I feel comfortable because I use those HESH rounds a lot, right? And that's why I run the ammo swapper. So let's have a look at the statistics of the tank while it's fully equipped. And as you can see, we now have 41.42 degrees a second hull traverse speed, which is again a little bit quicker, better terrain resistances, 510 meters of view range, which is decent, 48.65 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which is way quicker than the hull traverse, which is nice, 0.93 accuracy during rotation now, which is way better than 1.4, 1.45 accuracy during movement now, which is better than the 2.4 odd it was as well, which means that the gun doesn't bloom out that much at all. And then when you mix that with the 1.75 second aim time, this gun is always ready to sing, and that is great. You got that 5.83 second reload now with the near 5,000 DPM, and then if you, like I say, if you switch to that 590 HE round, oh boy, your DPM just skyrockets, and it is a really filthy thing to use on this vehicle. But yeah, that's the XM1 GM. It is a pretty damn solid tank. It is very, very good with its gun. Very, very good using the HE rounds, like I say. The mobility is fairly sluggish. The armor's okay. It's just a fairly balanced tank, realistically. I would say that the Chieftain 120 is still better because this gun on the Chieftain 120 is utterly fabulous. And it is disgusting, right? And the mobility is more reliable with its top speed, right? But the XM1 GM is still a pretty solid MBT, but it is, if you were to look at the price, 12,900 gold, and for me personally, always once you're getting above 12,000 gold, it is getting a bit too expensive for a tank, so I'd always say wait for the discount so that you can get this tank at a cheaper price. And once you, like say, once you're realistically knocking 20-30% off this tank like they tend to do for discounts, and you're getting more towards 10 to 11-ish K gold, that would be a lot more worth it for this vehicle in realistic terms. So yeah, that's the XM1 GM. Like I say, it's a pretty solid tank. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing it. So what I'm going to do now is send you over to the replays where you can enjoy watching this tank play, see how it handles, see if this tank is a bit of you, see if the tank's not you at all, and watch it in action. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the XM1, and this first game we are on Fisherman's Bay. Fantastic driving on display. Let's go. Yeah, we are the best driver in the universe. Naturally, you're seeing that. We're just showing off, right? We wanted to show that rock who was boss. Okay, that was the plan, right? We didn't drive it. It's fine. Right. So we're coming to this position here at E5, right? Why? Because we can get shots across the people that go into the town. We unfortunately shot the Enigma, but it didn't actually pen. We're being shot at by an autocannon. It's like, well, hello, Mr. BMP2. Thank you very much for telling me exactly where you are. We launch one of those juicy HESH rounds in. It pens him, sets him on fire, because that's what HE does. I'll keep calling it HESH rounds when it's just HE, but, you know, it's still the same thing. It does what it does, which is pens and does massive damage, as well as the fact that it's HE, right? So module damage is increased with this round. So when you're doing stuff like that and you're shooting people like a BMP with the HE, you're more likely to set them on fire and stuff, which is great. So we're coming into the town to win this engagement because there was actually only really 3 people that came here, which was the BMP, the Enigma, and the Chieftain. So we want to try and get this flank won, move on, and progress into the enemy team if we can. We see the BMP's in the corner, but I think, well, no, he's probably going to die, right? My team's after him. So let's go after the Chieftain. The Chieftain is perfectly HE-able, so we just load the HE, put it in for 660. Oof. Oof. Yes. This is why we load the HE. We put the APF SDS back in, though, because he wasn't giving us his front anymore. And we shut that Chieftain down with the RBRT into his side. Now is the time to push across after the enemy team in the opposite corner. And this is where the mobility is that little bit more sluggish, and you will feel that little bit of sluggishness in it, because you can see we're going at 52, 51, 50 on the flat, right? And that is around the average of what you're going to be doing in the XM1. Like I say, it's got a quick top speed, but you generally don't get near it. 72 kilometers an hour, you're looking at it going fast, that's really fast, but you're generally about 60 odd. So we've loaded HE, we go for the back end of the Leopard 1, and sadly, it hits the floor, because RNG is still a thing. But 615 through his upper plate, because HE, oof. I end up carrying more HE rounds in this tank, by the way, because I think I only have 10 in this replay. I end up upping it to 15 because I use it so much that I kept running out of HE, and then having situations where I was like, oh, I'm out of HE, and was firing APF SDS and feeling disappointed, right? So, yeah, I would recommend carrying more HE. So the guys in the corner are getting rushed by my team, so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm focusing it on stuff like the Ignis that's over there, the rickety Panzer that we're going for, and the M113 is YOLOing into the rest of our team, so he's probably dead. I didn't want to go after the rickety Panzer and the Ignis that's over here, or the M60, until my team had at least killed those guys in the corner, because then I can just YOLO towards them, spot them up, and my team will hopefully give me some assistance, and just help us out in general. So we see the Ignis, fire a Hesh round on the move, it misses, Neo comes into play, we are one with the Matrix, and we dodged the ATGM there from the Ignis. Unfortunately missed another Hesh round, but, well, we're not missing that one. Hello, Mr. Ignis, I'm sorry, buddy, ram, and he's out of here. We're never dodging that Rickety Panzer's ATGM, and he goes straight through the front. Like I say, sometimes the ATGMs don't go through, and sometimes they do, and that Rickety Panzer just took it straight through the front of our tank and took away like over 1,000 hit points. But we did manage to shut down him and the M60 odd, and we finished with the 5 kills, 6k damage, the second class with the 1412 base XP. 5 kills as well. Nice run there for the XM1 on Fisherman's Bay. Fairly average game for it in terms of its damage. And we're on to the second replay. And the second replay, I had to include it because there's a meme. A meme happens, and we like memes round here. So, the second replay, we're on Azure Coast, and on Azure Coast, what I'm going to do is go towards the beach, but I'm not going to go onto the beach, because the amount of times I've gone down onto the beach and got trapped is exceptionally awkward, and I decided, you know what, I've learnt from my past pains. I'm not going to go towards the beach, because I'll go down there and then I end up just getting trapped and YOLO bomb rushed and die, and that's awkward and annoying, so I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do instead is push across this way towards where that Bagel Panzer is and where the steps are, here where the Ignis Pagatio is at the rock and this Leopard 1A3, and then we can put some pressure on these guys instead of being the ones that are pressured on the opposite steps. So the Sheridan comes round, and that's again where the ATGMs can be absorbed at times. That ATGM from the Sheridan is absorbed by my front, and we don't get penned there, luckily, for over 1,000. I've been penned by plenty of Sheridan, but it's like a 50-50 as to whether they actually pen me in the front or not. We also got a nice shot through the Leopard 1A3 and damaged his Amarak. Now that Sheridan's not been poking out, I'm thinking, I think that Sheridan, especially with the way that light tank just made that push, I think that Sheridan's run away. So I wanted to put some pressure up on the Leopard 1A3. We get fortunate there that ATGM hits us in the front of the turret and doesn't do anything, because, well, I had no idea that ATGM was coming, alright? I just, again, Neo! You know, I felt it. I felt a disturbance in the Matrix, and I pulled back and it didn't do any damage, you know? Yeah, that's the way it is. I didn't get lucky at all. We put a Hesh round, or HE round, straight through the Ignis, ram him again. Hello, Mr. Ignis, get rammed. We hit that Ignis as well for nearly 600, again with the HE. Again, that HE is so filthy. It is glorious to use. If you do not abuse it, you're not using one of the key strengths of this tank. It's like the Leopard 2AV in that way, like any of the M60s, like the Chieftain 120 as well. Oh, hello, Mr. BMP. And no kill with the ram? Okay, but we took away most of his hit points. But yeah, if you don't use the HE, you are missing a trick, because your DPM just accelerates when you do that. But that BMP is gone. We got a Sheridan directly in front of us, get the RBRT in, and we see their enemy team coming out of this gap, and it's like, hello, Mr. Bagel Panzer, ramming speed! Oh! We are so dead, but it was so worth it. That was the whole health of the Bagel Panzer in one ram. And we finished the game with the loss, sadly. 5 kills, 6.9k damage. The third class, the sniper, 693 base XP. But it was all worth it for that Bagel Panzer ram. Oh, that was filthy. And we take those rams every single day. At that point, I knew I was dead, but I did not care one iota, one jot about losing, because it was like, let's go! What a ram! You know, that's just the way it was. It was beautiful. It was that's why I had to include that replay. Because, I mean, the damage was fairly average for a Era 2 premium, or an Era 2 in general, to be fair. At 6 to 7k, I always think is about the average you should be aiming for. And, yeah, we just... That Bagel Panzer ram, what can I say? It was... it was glorious. But we're on to the third replay of this video. And we are now on El Alamein, a map that I do truly enjoy playing every time I play it. And we are going to go to this position here at J4, because it's pretty good at shooting the people that cross along the CD line. Plus you can try and see some of the people that do cross from their spawn as well. And you can also shoot these guys over here, like the M103 and that T72. It gives you just the flexibility to look across different ways. And especially if they do YOLO down the 9-0, it also gives you the chance to shoot those guys as well, if they push very aggressively, very hard. So we see the guys at F9, right? And I also see that guy crossing as well, the TR580, so we get a cheeky shot into him. I want to go get rid of this T72A and anything that could be behind us before going back to defend the base. Because, to be honest, on El Alamein, in Era 2, Era 3, Era 1, our cap is fairly uncappable for the enemy team. Why do I say that? Anybody that gets to positions like K5, gets to positions like G6, like E8... anywhere around those areas, which are dead central of the map, so they're really easy to get to, can just reset the cap, no problem whatsoever, because the cap is exceptionally open. There is basically no cover whatsoever in it, so if anyone tries to sit in the cap, it's really easy to just pick them off and shoot them, especially with true vision. You are completely obvious in that cap. So I have no real worry about them capping. It's like, well, you know, if they try to cap, I'll just get into a position to farm it. And there is someone in the cap, so we're going to get in a position to farm it. It's like looking for it. There he is. There's the BMP. Put the shot down range, and of course the gun RNG just said, "Ha, lol, no," and we missed. But we get a shot into the BMP there, breaking his ammo rack. He's still sitting still, and we're just going to lead it a bit more. And oh, we should have led it just a little bit more because it dipped a little bit into the ground there. I was thinking about loading the HE rounds, but that would have been a mistake at this range because we're 645, 650 meters away, or 680 meters away, sorry, looking at that. And yeah, firing HE rounds at that distance would have been a mistake. So now we're in a position to, well, we've reset the cap. The cap is no longer a worry. We're in a position to shoot the people as they cross the JK line. Hello, Mr. Centurion 9. I mean, I'm just going to put you out of your misery because I know how painful it is to be playing that thing. And this is where the great DPM of this tank comes in handy. Obviously, we're not going to pen Hesh rounds into his side, but the APF SDS with 1500 meters a second shell velocity will easily deal with the Centurion 9. And good night, buddy. Get out of my game. And Mr. BMP as well. Oh, hello, buddy. Good night, Mr. BMP. Thank you for letting me finish you off there. Now we've got shots into their team as they come out of that area. We're shooting at another XM1, and you can see with 421 pen, we did go straight through his lower plate. So if you do see these things, you've got around that 400 pen mark, do go straight through the lower plate. You know, go for the lower plate, sorry, and you will go through it. We're now going to pressure the WZ-1224, get as close as possible and try and avoid anything that this light tank might fire at us, but he ends up firing at the heavy tank instead. We're just going to keep putting shots straight into the side of this WZ-1224 because he's not angled at the best of places. Now we're coming up to his front. We put the shot straight through his lower plate. It's like, hello, Mr. BMP. I'm loading HE for you, and I want to ram you, my friend. Going for the really slow ram, but we put a HE round him. Slowly but surely grinding away at his hit points. Another HE round straight through his upper plate, and then finish him off with a little ram. or love tap really. 606 with the HE through the upper plate of that BMP2. Yet again, I'm saying just how good these HE rounds are. We're on 5 kills, 10,060 damage with 5 kills. Shot on the move into the Sheridan. Can we secure our top gun in this game? Yes, we can. We secure the top gun, and this is where I'm going to cut this replay because we end up spending another 2 minutes driving towards that on toss, and just as we get there, he dies. So save you the pain of that as I suffered. We finished with the 6 kills, 10,800 damage, the top gun, the sniper, the high caliber, the first class, 1,740 base XP. A really nice game there for the XM1 on El Alamein. And yeah, that was pretty typical of what my playthrough today has been like, realistically. It's been a lot of fun playing this tank for me. Like, the gun handling's been pretty good. Like I say, we've had the ability to not get automatically penned by all the ATGMs, but we still do get wrecked by them. And then the HE is so fun to use. The HE is such a strength for this vehicle. Like I say, just like any of the other tanks that run a 105 like this or the 120 where they've got 250 plus pen on the HE rounds. So we're on the 4th replay. There's only one more replay after this, and we are on this map. And it goes a bit mental on this map on Kaunas. And what we're going to do is, well, I was thinking of going to the position at D6, but I saw how little of my team were coming this way and thought, you know what, I'm not really going to get much help. So we're going to go help the team in the town win the fight. Or at least try to if we can. So we're pushing quite aggressively, and I go, oh, boy, this is a lot of tanks. This is quite awkward. So we go for the RBRT on the M60A1. It goes straight through his side. Naturally, I'm thinking, right, I need to back out and readjust what I was trying to do. The ATGM from the Ignis does not pen us. Again, this is where I'm saying where the ATGMs sometimes pen you, sometimes don't, which is that nice sort of little bit of armor that you've got for the XM1. And we see the MX-30, and the MX-30's there, right, and I'm like, okay, HE, my friend, I like HE. But the Ignis drives out, 550, and this is where the DPM is going to go nuts when we're firing HE, because 619 on the MX-30B, and if you pen a 30B with HE as well, the likelihood is you might actually set him on fire too. We finish off the 30B there with the HE round. The Ignis is still here. He bounces his ATGM. Unfortunately, that HE round doesn't pen because it hits his side for 257, but now we've got a T72 AV behind us. We bounce off his side, but he's decided just to not bother with us. We get shot in the rear, and I'm like, okay, I've got to get forwards because there's 2 tanks behind me. We try and get shot into the T72 AV again, but he's actually behind a building. We get shot by the M60A1, who we do get a nice shot into his side with the RBRT. Now the Stingray's here. It's like, Mr. Stingray, you know what? You're going down, buddy. We load HE. Hello, 594. Going for the little bit of a ram here. Oh, nice bit of ram. He's now a one-shot with the Hesh. Should have aimed it. We hit his gun, which is why we did no damage. This time the Hesh goes in. Good night, Mr. Stingray. And we're behind these MBTs here. Hello, M60s. They haven't realised. A little bit too late. We get a nice high roll there for 631 with the HE. Finishes off one M60. Hello, other M60. 565. And he gets hit with an ATGM. And it's like, sir, you know I'm here, right? No? Okay, we slam that shot for 575 into his side. Put him down to a one-shot. Finish him off. Now it's like, hello, Mr. McGack. I've killed your friends. Now I'm here for your life, sir. We get the tracking shot in, which is what we were aiming for, so we could get some assistance. Looking for that tracking shot again. It goes in. Unfortunately, don't get any more assistance on that because the ATGM didn't pen it. Reset his tracks with a little bit of a ram and finish him off there. We're up to 7,774 damage. 5 kills with 873 assistance. That was chaotic, but we got through it. That's the kind of chaos I can get behind sometimes. It's the type of thing I enjoy sometimes. That sort of mad chaoticness that you can come out with and go, well, that was chaotic. That was mental. But okay. There's 4 tanks left on the enemy team. We know there's a Sheridan up here. We know there's a TD in the corner at A1 because it was spotted. There's a TD at A6. We don't know where the medium tank is, but we're just going to full send. We've got no HE rounds left, which is so sad. This is one of those situations where I was like, I wish I had HE. Now the Object 120 has been put down to a one-shot. I'm like, oh, Top Gun. Top Gun's incoming. Let's go. Thank you, Mr. Object 120, for driving in front of me. We'll finish him off for our Top Gun. Type 79 is in front of us, and again, this is where I wish I had HE, because we could be going through this guy's lower plate and upper plate quite easily with this, and our DPM would be absolutely phenomenal. He decides to try and facehug us. Well, while he's facehugging us, he's not going to really pen us, to be honest, because he's not quite got the penetration. We put him down to a one-shot for the Sheridan, who ends up finishing him off. Now, there's only 1 tank left on the enemy team. It is the Sheridan. Hello, Mr. Sheridan, RBRT, 7 kills. Let's go. We get that shot snapped into place, and we secure our 7th kill of this replay, and finish with the epic victory. The top on the team, 7 kills, 10,014 damage, 2.5k blocked as well. The Western Firepower Medal for 7 kills in a Western Alliance era premium, the sniper medal, the top gun, the high caliber with the first class, and 1756 base XP. Pretty damn good game there for the XM1 GM on Kaunas, and we just had a pretty good time there. The HE rounds are so filthy when you get to use them and abuse them in that sort of situation. Oh boy, it is so dirty. And we're on to the the fifth. We're on to the 5th and final replay of this video. Well done if you've got to this point. And we are playing the best base XP game that we've had in this vehicle. And we are on Thankyou Ridge. On Thankyou Ridge, what I'm going to do is charge to the position at H3. And by charging there, hopefully I will be able to cut off any advance down the 2-3 line, and I can sort of poke the corner and corner brawl, right? Which is what I want to try and do with this XM1 at this point. Or I could get hull down over here as well at HJ2, 3 if I wanted to. It depends on what ends up coming round this corner. So we find a 4-ad, and it's like, oh boy, Mr. 4-ad, I've got some HE for you. Unfortunately, we had the HE loaded, though, for the Sheridan, and the Sheridan's not going to be penned by HE, but, oh, this is where it's going to be painful for that guy. 611 into that 4-ad. He's boosting his hit points. It's like, yes, feed me more damage. Unfortunately, we get rammed into by the Brenner, so the HE round ended up hitting his turret, but 553 through his upper plate. Sheridan's on the move. I'm not really going to get a shot into this guy. I should have loaded the APFS. I should have switched the APFSDS, to be perfectly honest, because I do have the ammo swapper, but we didn't. Put the HE round straight through the 4-ad, 650, set him on fire, and he's gone. The HE round is so filthy. The Sheridan does pen us there with his ATGM, but I'm like, you know what, sir? You're getting rammed, my son. There is no escape. We unfortunately bounce on the Sheridan with APFSDS, but we secure the kill, so we'll take it. We're just unlucky. But we also did take 1,000 hit points of damage there from that guy, which is sad, sad times for us. And I'm looking at the Conqueror going, Mr. Conqueror, you are my guy. I want to kill you, my friend. Try and get the shot on the move into the Brennus in the distance. Sadly, the shot just goes low and misses. RBRT onto the Conqueror, finish him off just before that ATGM flew in. Good night, Mr. Conqueror. Now there's a BMP. I'm thinking I want HE into this guy if I can. Just looking to make sure we're going to pen it. 622. Oh, yes, HE is great. Looking for that upper plate, lower plate shot. We didn't really need the HE in the end, but we did finish him off and secure our 4th kill of this game. Now we've got an XM1 GM in front of us and a Leopard 1A5 on our left. We have to be careful because this is a bit of a crossfire, but I want to get as tight to this ridgeline as possible, make it so that the XM1 couldn't shoot us, but we had the opportunity to shoot the Leopard 1A5. Sadly, the first shot misses the 1A5. He gets unspotted, and I think, all right, okay, you know what? I'm going to put pressure up on this GM. We fire HE straight through the back. You can see, I'm correcting myself. It's not Hesh, it's HE. But we put the HE straight through the back of the XM1 GM for that 600 odd there, and then switch back to APFS DS when we knew we couldn't pen it in the side. It's all about your ammo choice. It's all about switching to the right choice of ammunition for the right moment. So we're just putting the shots back into the behind of the XM1. We shut him down, switch to our final HE round because we know that we can kill the Magak, or we can get a big round into the back of the Magak there for 578, and he gets finished off by the T-72A. There's 4 tanks left on the enemy team. We're up to 5 kills, 8.1k damage, 1,285 assistance. Nice shot on the move there into the Magak Hydra, who is fairly easy to pen, especially for this tank. And again, I kind of wish I had HE, because if I had HE, we would quite easily pen a Magak Hydra. But we're just hoping to get the finish, and there we go. We secure our top gun for this game. There's only 2 tanks left. We know where one is, which is the FV4211 there at G6. And there's another tank knocking around somewhere It's probably towards our base. He's maybe on the other side of this hill. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is push towards the hill, because then I can use the elevation of the hill over here at E8 to be able to get some nice side shots into the FV4211, and hopefully he won't be looking at us. And there we go. We got behind this 4211 so we can see his side. Just looking for the shot now into that guy. We aim a little bit too low, and sadly we end up ricocheting off of, well, we just bounced, to be fair, off the 4211. Another shot straight through the side. Can we get the 7th kill of this game? He's not quite a one-shot, though, and sadly, we don't quite get another shot into that 4211 before he goes down to the T72A. Only one tank left, and it's like, right, where is he? Okay, he's not on the opposite side of this ridge. Where's he gone? We get detected, well, we get spotted, I should say, and it's the 4211 that's actually in our base. So we're going to use the mobility this tank. You can see, once you get going downhill, you do build up some speed, but we have to go up a little bit of a hill, and we basically lost all of that speed and momentum that we gained very, very quickly. But we're up to 62 kilometers an hour, and again, you can see that's about the average speed that you go in this XM1 GM. I'm looking at this guy going, please, I want my 7th kill. Thankfully, the Brennus bouncers. We've got to make sure we're going to pen this 4211, aiming for the cupola. Good night, Mr. 4211. I'm going to finish the game with, again, a really nice total for the XM1 GM. We finished with the victory, 7 kills, 9,972 damage, 1,649 assistance, the ace tanker, the sniper, the high caliber, the top gun, that Western firepower medal again, 1,901 base XP. Great game there for the XM1 GM. A tank that, like I say, is a pretty good tank at what it does. Flanking and spanking, it does really well. The gun handling on it is really nice. The DPM's pretty nice. The mobility on it's fairly sluggish and mediocre. Gets up to a good top speed generally, but it's, you know, it's sluggish to get there. And the armor sometimes is so-so. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.